This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. This is my roundup of the quarterfinal results and also a few predictions for the semi-finals. First up was the game between Bordeaux and Harlequins. Now, that was an absolute classic of not the Heineken Cup, the Champions Cup, but an absolute classic. Harlequins really pulled it out of the bag, and the big game players really performed well for them, and they managed to snatch really a win when nobody expected them to. And for Harlequins as a club, that is absolutely huge. Their biggest ever win in Europe. They're through to the semi-finals. They've never done that before. So an absolutely phenomenal result away from home. So they really kicked off that last weekend, in fine style, and they won by 1 point, 42-41. And I don't know if you know, Harlequins have a reputation for kind of building a lead and then losing it, and it looked like that might happen at 1 point in the game. But for them to come through and take that win is an absolutely massive result. I don't think you can underestimate how big that one was. Harlequins are through to the semi-final. Then on to Northampton versus the Bulls. Northampton were at home, and there is quite a lot of controversy around the Bulls fielding a weaker team. And it's a fair comment, to be honest. They did send a weakened side up, and they paid for it. They lost 59-22, which, given the Bulls' full strength side, that is not a fair reflection of where the clubs are. But it was the Bulls' choice at the end of the day. I'm not sure of the motivation. Maybe it warrants another video. Maybe I can delve a little bit deeper into why they would do that. But the Bulls paid the price. The first half was pretty competitive, but Northampton ran away in the second half. Slightholm and Freeman really impressed the wings, and also Smith, Finn Smith, that is, at number 10 looked really good. So Northampton looked the real deal, and they really spanked Bulls in the second half particularly. So Northampton take that one, and they're through to the semi. So 2 English sides so far. Next we have Leinster versus La Rochelle. So I actually watched that one live. I was very excited to see it, as I'm sure a lot of people were. It was a repeat of the previous 2 finals in the Champions Cup. So Leinster put La Rochelle to bed quite convincingly in the end, and it ended up being 40-13. Again, competitive in the first half, but Leinster pulled away in the second half, and La Rochelle couldn't match them. So a huge win for Leinster psychologically, in terms of La Rochelle have been a bogey team, and plus, they have the Irish manager there, or coach. So big win for Leinster, and they're through to the semis. So they look good all round, with a few key players missing too. So very strong team. So they're through to the semi-final stage 2. Then we have Toulouse and Exeter. Now, it was always going to be a big ask for Exeter. I think their win in the round of 16 was very significant for them, being an extremely young side. And Toulouse really made them play. Again, Exeter lived with them kind of in the first half, but Toulouse absolutely pummeled them in the second half. And it ended up being a huge score, 64-28 in the end. So Toulouse really looking like an unstoppable force in this year's tournament. It'll be interesting to see if they can be stopped, but they are through to the semis. So on to the semi-finals, and we have 2 English teams, 1 French team and 1 Irish team. So I think Harlequins would be the most pleased about being in this stage. They're the only one of those 4 teams who haven't won a championship before. Northampton, I think, have won 2. Toulouse had won 5, I think, and they're always there or thereabouts. And Leinster have won 1, 2. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but they've been to several finals too. So Harlequins are like the odd man out in the semi-finals. But surprisingly, I think they are the only my head tells me absolutely Toulouse will smash Harlequins. And I think Toulouse are playing at their home ground as well. I thought it was supposed to be a neutral ground, but it seems to be they're playing at their home ground. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I looked it up, it seems like they're playing at Toulouse home ground. So that will mean Harlequins will have to go onto their turf and turn them over. Is it a step too far for Harlequins? I don't know, but I'd like to think the dreamer and me would like to think that they knock out the favourites, and I think Toulouse are the favourites. So they have the talent to do it. I mean, you know, Marcus Smith has been unbelievable this season when he's been fit, and yeah, if anyone can do it, it will be them. On to Leinster and Northampton. That's a really interesting game. I was listening to an interview with Courtney Lawes, and he did mention the Bulls fielding a weaker team, and said that they didn't really get the run out that they would probably want before a semi-final matchup. And against Leinster at Croke Park, that's going to be a tough ask for them to raise their game then, because Leinster, no doubt, they look really up for it against La Rochelle, particularly the intensity in the physical collisions and breakdown and defence was a step up from what we've seen from them in maybe the last 6 months. They really raised the game, and the only thing I worry for Leinster is that La Rochelle game would be the pinnacle of the achievement this season, because La Rochelle has such a lot of history with this Leinster team. But hopefully not, and they will keep that intensity up. Northampton are definitely going to be up for it, and as I said, it's for England, it's a battle of the Smiths. You've got Finn Smith and the Smith that we all know playing for Harlequins. Also, yeah, Northampton has some very powerful players behind, just as Leinster do. Alex Mitchell and Jameson Gibson Park is going to be an intriguing battle, so I'm really looking forward to that. I think Leinster and Northampton will be the game that I'll watch live. So yeah, I'll take Leinster, home advantage, and after their last performance, you'd have to favour them. But yeah, Courtney Lawes is, you know, he's just found his, rekindled his love of the sport, I feel, since retiring from England duty, and yeah, he's going to have that team up and ready to go. So final picks, I will pick against the grain, because that's the kind of guy I am. I will pick Harlequins to beat Toulouse at home. So there you go. I love Marcus Smith that much, and I'll pick Leinster to beat Northampton. So I'll go for a Leinster Harlequins final, which would be quite the event, and that will be in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is in London. So yeah, yeah. Tell me what you think. What do you think of the games gone? How about the Bulls situation? What do you think about that? And who are your predictions for the final? If you made it this far, thank you, and please check out the next video. All right, cheers.